All right. Well, why don't we kick things off here? Thanks a lot for joining, everyone. Welcome and glad that you're here. We're really excited about today with the new rollout of the integration with Schwab Advisor Center. And we wanted to spend some time with you to talk through that and go through a few things. Just a little intro. My name is Rushi Shah. I'm a director of product management here at YCharts, and I focus a lot on the integration side of things with YCharts. And hopefully, you've seen quite a bit of progress there from our end in terms of the integrations that we've added in the last year or so. And today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Chris Candela from Schwab. So, Chris, why don't you go ahead and give yourself an introduction?
Yeah, thanks, Rishi. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining. I'm really excited to be a guest here on this webinar. We've been looking forward to YCharts releasing their integration. Really excited for you all to see what they've built and now what they have available in addition to the SSO that they currently had with into Schwab Advisor Center from the YCharts platform. I'm part of Schwab's third-party integrations team, so my role is working with third-party vendors such as YCharts to help them, create a strategy around integrating with Schwab Advisor Center. We help them, optimize those integrations. We keep them up to date on new work that we're doing, developing integrations, and so that's my role. Still have very close ties to advisors. Before coming onto this team, the third-party integration team, I actually did technology consulting with Schwab for about 8 years. So I was working directly with advisors, helping them select technology, helping them optimize it, helping them get adoption. And even going back to my time as a consultant, YCharts was a product that came up quite often, and quite frankly, one that I've been really impressed with for a number of years. Before I turn it back over to Rushi to get the demo going, I did want to mention and give you all just a little bit of an update on the conversion of the TDA accounts over to Schwab. We're still about 18 months away from that happening. Work continues. Things are progressing. Things are on track. And in terms of the integrations that TDA had with vendors, we've almost entirely closed that gap to be filled by Schwab integrations. And in particular, YCharts, they had an SSO into TDA, into VEO. They already had that SSO in the Schwab Advisor Center. And now, in addition to that, they have the API. So actually, upon conversion, those from TDA will actually get more integration because YCharts has above and beyond what TDA had in terms of integrations. So with that, Rushi, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, and really appreciate that background and giving a little bit more information because I know we have a lot of advisors at custody at Schwab. So thanks for that. And I wanted to just go through a quick agenda before I jump into things on YCharts to show off the integration. But first off, we'll just go through a quick platform overview, talk about a few things that advisors love using on the tool. And then we'll connect that to the new API integration with Schwab. So we'll talk a little bit about the type of data that you're going to be able to import directly from Schwab. We'll also talk a little bit about how to get set up with the integration now that it is live on your accounts. And we'll also talk about what you can do once you use that integration within the tool. So a lot of great stuff that we're going to go over today. And I did want to start off by giving you a quick overview on YCharts in general and where we offer a ton of value for advisors. And we want to just use this visual here to explain our value proposition and really the key benefits that we offer, which are AUM growth and retention, significant time savings, and better outcomes and client satisfaction overall. And this visual here on the right really goes through 5 different components of YCharts. And this integration fits really well here in the top right in terms of portfolio construction. But really it starts on the dashboard, and I'll go through this a little bit as I'm going through the tool. But YCharts is a great tool to get that market and portfolio monitoring component in your day-to-day. So if you need a place to log in, quickly monitor the markets, view what's going on, especially in times like we're going through right now, and understand how to really gauge the market and understand that from a data perspective where things are. But it doesn't only stop there. So from that market and portfolio monitoring, you can really jump into the research and analysis aspect, which has always been a huge part of tools. Our tables tools are into it, and get into a lot of the different metrics like returns, risk, allocations, et cetera. Just a ton there on the data front. And aside from the data side, we have a ton of data on securities themselves, but we've taken that to the next level with our portfolio, our model portfolios tool. And that's where these integrations are extremely valuable. So that whole portion of constructing your portfolios has always been, or could be, a cumbersome process if you're an advisor with a ton of different portfolios or clients that you're managing. And so we've really taken that process to the next level with a lot of the integrations like the one with Schwab Advisor Center, where you can automatically import portfolio holdings to streamline that process. Not only are you streamlining YCharts is more aligned, so you're not surprised with what you see within YCharts, or it gets rid of a lot of those user errors that potentially can happen. And lastly, the last part, or our biggest value proposition, aside from what I've spoken through so far, our product that we've had a lot of success with and advisors love using. And I'll start with the proposal and client communication side of things. And that starts with our visuals. So you have things like PDF reports, which I'll go through, charting tools, really where our name came from the beginning, and just being able to firm brand and really tailor those towards your workflow is where we have a lot of success. And lastly, advisor and client alignment. So that side-by-side type of analysis, being able to take maybe a portfolio that your client's currently in and pitch them a new portfolio, whether it's an allocation change or whether you're putting them into a totally different strategy. We have great tools like side-by-side reports and tear sheets to do just that. And so with that, I want to go into the integration a little bit more, and I'll pass things back to you, Chris. Do you mind just giving a little bit more information on what we're going to be pulling in from Advisor Center and what our users can expect when they're using that integration?
Yeah, so the integration is through an API, and what it essentially does is it brings portfolio balances and positions into the YCharts platform, as Rushi mentioned, and really just to kind of expand on that comment more broadly, is all the integrations we have with Schwab that we provide to vendors are essentially taking data from Schwab Advisor Center. Another way we integrate it is incorporating the digital workflows on Schwab Advisor Center into third-party platforms such as digital onboarding or digital account opening, digital address change, and move money. So those are kind of the two flavors of integration. In the case of YCharts, it's simply bringing that account data in real time over into the YCharts platform.
That's great. Yeah, and we'll be able to show a few of those things on the YCharts side to demonstrate. And that's let's just jump right into that. So let's go into the YCharts tool and demo a few things here. So I'm going to start off on our YCharts dashboard. If a few of you are seeing this and it looks very different, this is actually something we just rolled out as well. So if you're interested, you should see this little switcher here at the top where you can toggle to the new dashboard view. Ton of new functionality. We're super excited about it. Again, that portion of market monitoring and being able to analyze things on the page, that's where this dashboard is going to add a ton of value for you. So here's a great place to start. And I talked a little bit about being able to tailor YCharts towards your firm. So I have another dashboard here with custom colors. So that's just one example of maybe you want to add your firm colors in here, and you can change all your charts and all your visuals to match those firm colors, which is pretty cool to do within the tool. Aside from that, let's talk a little bit about the tools available on YCharts, and we're going to focus primarily on the integration side of things. But if you're new to the tool and you're interested, we have a ton here. Not only that portfolio side of things, but we have different types of charting tools. We have different screening tools. We have one for stocks primarily, and then funds primarily as well. So you can really find that great new investment. And then we also have a couple tables tools to help streamline your approach to building out different things, whether it's for holdings or whether you want to look at the whole S&P 500 and get a quick table view of that. That's what these two tools are great for. And then lastly, we have an Excel add-in. So if you're a big Excel person and you love Excel modeling, or maybe you have some custom Excel reports that you use in your day-to-day, you can actually connect any data on YCharts to Excel. And so that's really powerful. If you have client portfolios in here via an integration, you can then import those into Excel too. So it's a great workflow that a lot of advisors love. Couple other things. These are just like a couple home pages. So I'll just click on one, the stocks page. It's a great place, again, to monitor the markets. So seeing how these indices are down or up on the day, what's contributing to those indices throughout the day, getting a sector heat map, just a lot of visually appealing pages that you can kind of toggle through as you're analyzing the markets. Aside from that, let's dig into the integration. So I'm going to hover over support and click on integrations. And that's where you're going to see a lot of our, or basically all of our integration partners when it comes to that model portfolio holdings integration. And so right here, we have Schwab Advisor Center, and you can see it's that portfolio holdings integration. And mine is active. I have my test account active currently, but to activate it on your end, you're going to activate. I won't go through that whole login process right now, but you'll be able to log into Schwab via this activate button. Chris, did you have a comment to add here?
Yeah, it's just you're breaking up a little bit on the audio connection. We can hear you for the most part, but just here, there, it's dropping out just a bit.
Okay. Yeah, please let me know if that continues. I'll try and change up the internet here. We have a ton of people in the office, so maybe that's causing some bandwidth issues.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for letting me know. But yeah, going back into the login process. So on this integrations homepage, you can click activate, and that's going to take you to Advisor Center to go ahead and log into your Schwab account. And after you do that, if you're using something like a one-time password for Schwab, you can enter that in as well and go through that login process. Once you've completed that login process, you'll see that active button, which means you're ready to start using that integration. So now that it's active on my account, let's jump into actually using that integration. So hovering over tools, I'm going to click on model portfolios. So the model portfolios tool, if you're not familiar, allows you to create a portfolio or a basket of securities to view how they would perform in history. So you can really understand or build portfolios within YCharts and treat them like any other security within the tool. So I have a few of these model portfolios, which are just basic different risk and return type of buckets of securities. Let's start with the import process. So I'm going to click on import holdings and click on Schwab Advisor Center. And there's two things that you can import by here. You can either import by client or account. And so I wanted to go back to the slides to just explain this a little further. Going back here, and this visual here explains what you can search by and what you can expect to see after you search for it. So if you're searching by a client, you could search by either their first name or their last name. So if you search by their last name, it'll return every single client within your Schwab account that has that last name, and then you can find the client that you want to view. And once you've actually found that client, it'll show you a bit more information about that client's accounts. It shows you something called registration line 1 and line 2. If you're not familiar, it's just a little bit more information about your client and then about that account in particular, so you'll get that account ID. When you're searching by account specifically, you're kind of skipping that client step. So if you directly want to just search for maybe that account ID number, or you want to see all the accounts for someone's last name, for example, you can go ahead and search for that client's last name, first name, or exact account number, and it'll return that same data for you. And this is a view that we'll go into right now. So if I go back into the model portfolios tool on YCharts, I can go ahead and search, let's just search John, for example, and it'll return some results here for me. Now, this is just test data in my account, but you'll see actual data on your end if you're using the integration. I'm just going to click on this sample John test client of mine, and I'll hit next. And now it's giving me all the accounts of John. And so I can go ahead and select the one I want. And you can see that additional information it gives you in that account ID. Once you actually hit import, now it's going to go and grab that data from Schwab Advisor Center and basically plot it into your model portfolio tool. So this is the creation phase where you're creating that model portfolio within YCharts. So what we've done here is pulled in those tickers and weights based on the market values within your account. And we've also added in just some metadata here, some additional data to streamline your process. So we pulled in that full name. We've actually masked description section. Chris, can you still hear me? It seems like my internet went out for a sec.
I got you now. Yeah, you cut out for a second, but I got you now.
Okay, cool. So once I actually do that description portion, there's a few other settings you can do here. The first one is advisory fees. So if you have your own advisory fee that you want to add in, you can go ahead and do that monthly, quarterly, annually, and then you can add in that fee. You can also select a custom benchmark. You can do a blended benchmark here too, and select your rebalance frequency as well. And then a few other settings. But once you're ready to go, you just hit save and it'll create that model portfolio within YCharts. For the sake of time, I already created a sample here. So I'm just going to jump right into that sample portfolio and show you a few things that you'll see on your end once you've imported from Schwab. So this would look really familiar if you're familiar with a lot of the YCharts pages. So this is what we call our quote page, where you can get a ton of data on your portfolio. So here I can see different things like performance, dividend yield. I can see my underlying holdings, asset allocation, risk metrics, et cetera, all against a benchmark as well, just to get that additional data and information about your portfolio. And then you can toggle through some of these tabs here to get some more information. So we have an allocations tab where you can get broad asset class allocations, region exposures, basically just a ton of different breakdowns to understand what's under the hood in your portfolio. And just a few more tabs I'll show here. So this is the holdings tab. So this is where I'll be able to see my underlying holdings and those weights that we're importing from Schwab. But also we have an overlap. So I can say, okay, here's my mutual fund holdings, but what am I really invested in? So this is going to boil it down into your stock and bond allocations, so you can understand what's even further under those funds that you're using. Something else that's really powerful here is our client communication piece. And that's this reporting aspect here that you can run on any of these portfolios that you're importing via that integration. So within this overall overview report section, I can just pick one that maybe I want to look at this 2-page overview report against the benchmark. And today we're meeting with John Smith. So I'm going to go ahead and put his name in here and hit generate. That's going to, on the fly, create a PDF report of that client's portfolio. Couple great things here with this PDF report. Number one, it's firm branded, just like I was mentioning with the dashboard and other components of YCharts. So I can see my firm's logo. I can see my firm's colors. You can see how clean this report is. We have a ton of different types of modules. So basically any portions of that quote page you're seeing on YCharts, you can put into this report, which is really powerful. And you can add different key stats and add your custom disclosures in here, everything you need to be compliant when you're showing this to your clients. And we do have a couple other very cool reports. So that was that overview one. We do have some comparison reports, which is more of that side-by-side view. So if I just pull up like a side-by-side comprehensive report, I can compare this to maybe a model portfolio that I have on here, and I'll hit next, and same process here. I'll just create this for John and hit generate. It's going to create that PDF report. So now we're not only looking at just the portfolio, but we're comparing it side by side, which is really powerful if you're running proposals with maybe prospects, or you're just making changes within their portfolio. You can compare and contrast two right next to each other. So that's the PDF side of things. One more I'll actually show you is the tear sheet. So going back into that reports menu, we added these tear sheets recently, and this is just that like a one-page report. If you want to quickly show everything all in one, this is just one page. And let me zoom in a little bit here, and you can see different things from that quote page as well. So a lot of reporting capabilities that we have within YCharts. But it doesn't stop there. So a couple other things I'll show you. And I love showing this quick flows tool because it's really easy to kind of show a bunch of things on YCharts and go through a bunch of valuable workflows. So let's say you're meeting with John and you want to pull up some data. You can click on this quick flows menu, and it's going to give you a single or a comparison quick flow option. And so right here on the single menu, I have my John Smith portfolio already added in here. And I can run through various workflows, whether it's charts or tables, etc., all even like a scatter plot if you wanted to. And you can do that all from this with one click of a button. So if I'm looking at a risk reward scatter plot, for example, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to build the scatter plot out for me with John Smith's portfolio, the benchmark, and then all those underlying holdings here as well. So really powerful to be able to go right into that scatter plot. A couple other things that you could do with that portfolio. Maybe you want to talk about trailing returns with your client, and you want a table view of all the holdings and the portfolio. So right here, I have my portfolio, I have all the holdings, and let's say, it's been the last high was at the beginning of the year. So maybe you want to talk about what's down the most year to date, or what's up the most and holding off the portfolio a little bit year to date. You can just toggle through these different columns and go through that workflow as well. One last one that's always top of mind that I'll show you with back in this quick flows menu. If I go ahead and click on something like coronavirus crisis, that's basically going to show me drawdowns or just general performance of this portfolio versus 3 benchmarks. So I can talk about the fact that I've been protecting John Smith against some of those drawdowns, and maybe while the market's down or the Nasdaq's down about 30%, my client's portfolio is a little bit more protected. So just another view, again, from branded within your YCharts account. So great to use that quick flows menu to show a few things after you integrate and import your portfolio. So that's pretty much it I wanted to show within the tool, and just to kind of show that integration off. Other than that, I would love to field a few questions, and I'm just going to look through the Q&A here. Let's see. I do see one question from Mike asking about, is the performance dynamic or based on past data like trades, or is it static? So this is going to be a static look back of your portfolio. So you'll be able to basically pull in your current allocations and it'll show you that allocation data and historical performance based on your current allocation. I do see a question from Richard about importing data on investment grade bond holdings. So something very cool about your integration. Let me go back into the tool here. If I'm importing a portfolio and I have something like cash, and we do import cash, the cash and equivalents component from Schwab. So if I'm importing the same exact portfolio, what you can actually do is set a proxy holding. So when I'm importing this, it came in as just saying USD cash. And I put in VMFXX, which is a money market fund in place of cash. That way I can still view that cash allocation and have it track that way. You can actually use that proxy and then store it. So now anytime cash gets imported, or in your example, anytime a bond gets imported that you're familiar with, you can set it to a certain proxy, whether it's another index or another fund that closely tracks that bond holding. That would be the best way to deal with that. Chris, did you want to jump in on a question? Might be muted, Chris.
Yeah. So I saw a question about cybersecurity and bringing the data into YCharts, and users need to authenticate themselves through YCharts before making that integration call. They will use their Schwab Advisor Center credentials, so there is an authentication process that's happening, and then that data is transferred over through an application programming interface. So it's all the data itself, of course, is under the Schwab Advisor Center security umbrella. It's safely and securely brought over through that application programming interface, and then the user authenticates on the YCharts platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. I see another one about do the holdings update automatically, or will I have to re-import? So what you can actually do within here is if you've imported your portfolio from Schwab, and let me just let's clear these filters, and I believe I have one in here that I've imported from Schwab. Let's see here. For example, right here, what I can do is click on this drop down and just click refresh imported holdings. And so what that's going to do is it's going to import the exact same endpoint that you initially imported. So just with one button, it re-pulls in those allocations and updates the data. So if you do make an allocation change within Schwab, this would be the best way to align your allocations in YCharts.
Yeah, Rishi, saw another one specifically addressed to me about iRebow being available in Schwab Advisor Center to legacy Schwab advisors. It doesn't relate necessarily to what we're talking about here, but I will get your contact info. We have the name of who asked that question, and I'll get back in touch with you with a response to that.
Awesome. Another question I'm seeing is there a way to look at the portfolio with the current weights? And so what you can do if I'm within this model portfolio here, and you go to that holdings tab, you'll notice the current weights are listed right here. So if you do want to view those allocations, that's where that current allocation is at. And that's really what you should align with Schwab. All right, just looking through a few more of these. So I see a question about importing at the household level. And so basically aggregating client accounts together. And just showing this view again here in model portfolios. So I'm going to go through this import process. And let's say instead of searching by client, I just search by account. And let's try, I believe this should work. And so you'll notice I have like all the accounts listed here. I can actually import multiple if I wanted to. So you can see I'm multi-clicking accounts here, and then it'll import all of them together. So that's the way you would household accounts all together. Someone else asked, when can we start using the import function? Today. It is live on your account, so you should see that within your support dropdown. So please feel free to reach out if you're not seeing that in your account. All right, Chris. Well, I think if you don't want to cover any other questions, we can wrap up here. And any other questions that we have that we didn't get to, we'll have someone from our support team reach out directly to you and get an answer to you. A couple other householding items. If you want to learn more, or if you are not a current YCharts user, feel free to start a free trial at YCharts.com. I do want to mention that advisors who custody at Schwab that aren't currently YCharts users, you do get a 20% off your new YCharts subscription. So please feel free to reach out for a demonstration. Chris, did you want to add on any other closing comments?
No, just other than what I had mentioned at the top, that we're excited to be able to incorporate our data from Schwab Advisor Center into YCharts, which, as you all have seen, is just a fantastic platform. And I think the pairing is just a top-notch one, and excited for you all to start using it. And thank you, Rishi, for including me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. And we really appreciate the Schwab team. It was great working with you guys and getting some help on building out this integration. So we're excited and would love to hear any thoughts or feedback you have too, if you're an advisor who's starting to use the integration on YCharts. So I think with that, we can wrap up and let everyone have some time back in their day. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining today.